Are you making quick decisions? Are you quickly applying what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're knowing? Or are you in some form of overthinking? The Thinking Yourself into Exponential Results series on the podcast comes to you every Saturday morning and takes what we discuss in the Morning Mindset Club, compiles it into one easy to access recording, and gives you some killer bonus content at the end that's not to be missed and only available here. So let's dive right in. Thank you for joining me. Yesterday, we spoke about the requirement that you acquire knowledge to help you achieve your goal, and that you must put that knowledge into action, into an organized plan of action toward that goal. So your goal is very important. That's why in the freedom equation that I teach, we start with what is it that you really want? What is the goal that you're going for? Because that is the North Star for us. That allows us to take whatever knowledge that you have acquired, put it into a plan of action, organize it, and thus achieve your goal. Now, today, we're going to flip that slightly. We're going to expand on it. And Hill says here that to educate is a word that is derived from the Latin word educo, meaning to educe, to draw out, to develop from within. That an educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. So what does this mean? It means that to be fully educated is to be able to draw out from within yourself the ability to achieve whatever you desire. By definition, this means that it's already inside of you. This is great news. You weren't born wanting. You weren't born lacking. You were born with this inside of you. It is your job to pull it out. It is your job to develop it. And this means developing the faculties of your mind. It is already there. It's inside of you. It's inside of everyone, but it must be developed. And this requires discipline. Remember that word, discipline and persistence. You most likely are out of the habit of disciplining your creative faculty, disciplining your mind's ability to create whatever it wants. You must draw that out through practice, through persistence, and through being disciplined with how you use your mind. So today, I want you to think, are you being disciplined with the lessons that have been given to you already with Think and Grow Rich? Now, don't use shame to beat yourself up here. If you've dropped the ball on keeping your goal present in your mind, if you've dropped the ball on envisioning it, clarifying it, using your imagination, all the things that we've talked about, go back to your notes and just get disciplined with it. Hill says, the accumulation of great fortunes calls for power, and power is acquired through highly organized and intelligently directed, specialized knowledge. But that knowledge does not necessarily have to be in the possession of the man who acquires the fortune. Okay, super important here. So he's saying you must be intelligently directing specialized knowledge. You must be organizing it. But it doesn't necessarily have to be knowledge that you possess. It could be knowledge that someone else possesses that you are organizing and applying. This could be someone on your team. This could be, and expand the notion of what team means. It doesn't necessarily mean only mean your staff, people in your employ. This could be your partner. This could be Google. This could be a mentor or a coach. This could be an accountability partner. This could be a colleague, someone in your mastermind. There is knowledge out there that people have. How can you make use of it? Now, fundamentally, in the examples that Hill gives in this book, he's talking about people on someone's staff or team of employment. And that is one of the ways to greatly leverage your ability to make money, to create money, is to hire great people. You cannot do it alone. At every level, whether you're just starting out or you've been in business for years, at every level, to really grow, you must acquire more knowledge that is applied, and you do that through hiring amazing team members. Now let's go back to the beginning of this sentence here, or this section. The accumulation of great fortunes calls for power, and power is acquired through highly organized and intelligently directed specialized knowledge. So let's talk about what power actually means. Power is the ability to direct or influence others. It's also the ability to do or act. So it calls for action, right? Power requires that you act. Power requires that you learn how to direct or influence others. This is sales, guys. Sales is directing or influencing others. Your kid, when he or she says, I want to go to the movies, or I want that pretty tutu, or I want to watch that movie, and you don't want that, but they do something that influences you to say yes to that request, you've been sold. They have power. They have influenced you to receive something that they want. That is direct influence over you. That is them selling you. And you are being sold, and you are selling all the time. Think about that when it comes to you being good with sales in your business for the exchange of compensation, wealth, money, okay? But you must have power in order to accumulate a great fortune. And power is the ability to do or act. Are you taking action? And it's also the ability to direct or influence others. Do you know how to do that? So those are your two questions for today. Hill says the preceding paragraph should give hope and encouragement to the man with ambition to accumulate a fortune who has not possessed himself of the necessary education to supply such specialized knowledge as he may require. So I emphasized the word ambition there. I want you to start loving your ambition. Start loving your desire for more life, for living out your greatness, for becoming more, doing more, and having more. If you have that ambition, but you do not have the formalized education or formal specialized knowledge, listen up to this section. It's important. Men sometimes go through life suffering from inferiority complexes because they are not men of education. The man who can organize and direct a mastermind group of men who possess knowledge useful in the accumulation of money is just as much a man of education as any man in any group. Remember this if you suffer from a feeling of inferiority because your schooling has been limited. Thomas A. Edison had only 3 months of, quote, schooling during his entire life. He did not lack education, neither did he die poor. Henry Ford had less than a 6th grade, quote, schooling, but he has managed to do pretty well by himself financially. Specialized knowledge is among the most plentiful and the cheapest forms of service which may be had. That's so interesting, isn't it? Okay, so he is saying here a number of things. You must know, let's go back here. He's saying that that education is not necessarily that certification. Okay, remember a few days ago we talked about what the word educate means, where it derives from, and it comes from developing the faculties of your mind. Okay, an educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. This is your creative faculty. It is inside of you. It just needs to be developed. This is what I teach. This is how I help my clients. This is what I fundamentally help you develop for yourself. Your ability to see yourself as someone who has this ability and someone who knows how to call upon it and use it. You do not need a certification from a university, from a high school to do that. Now, there are some goals that require that. Let's say you have the goal to be a Supreme Court justice. You must go to law school. That is a requirement for that goal. Let's say that you have the desire to be a brain surgeon. You must go to medical school. That is a requirement for that. You must acquire that knowledge. But for what you want, let's say you want to be President of the United States. You must have people on your staff that understand the Constitution. Might be good for you to read it yourself and learn something about it, right? But you must have people on your staff that have that specialized knowledge that can make and translate the arguments for you. You must, and I'm not implying that the Supreme Court is under the employ of the President of the United States by any means. We have separate branches of government there. But you understand, the President must understand how the government works and our Constitution, but she must have people on her staff that can provide the specifics of it. It's too big of a job to do on her own. Same thing in business. Same thing in business. Let's say you want to be the owner of the hospital. You may not need to know how to do the brain surgery. You might just need to know what's important about it so that you can set up your facility to work well towards that end. I hope you're understanding this point. In business, you must understand what the goal is and then get people and sell people on the idea of helping you achieve that. Okay? So know that the certification isn't the end goal. Your big desire is the end goal. And you can hire very smart people. In fact, you should hire people that are smarter than you in their particular field, area of specialty, for you to create what you want in your life. Okay, with that, ask yourself, who do you need to bring onto your team today? What kind of specialized knowledge is required for you to get to your goal? Do you need someone to help you with your thinking and your mindset? Do you need someone to help you change your self-image so that you see yourself as someone who is achieving that goal? Do you need someone on your team to help you with a particular aspect of your business? What do you need? What kind of specialized knowledge do you need to acquire? A quick heads up. If you're loving this material, you can access the full Success and Wealth Consciousness program we have to help you achieve your big financial goals and life dreams for free at theunstoppablewoman.com/mindset club. You will have access to daily trainings and mindset practices to help you stay focused, clear, and in action. So go get it at theunstoppablewoman.com/mindset club. So we are in chapter 5 on specialized knowledge in the section where Hill talks about, the section is titled, "It Pays to Know How to Purchase Knowledge." Isn't that interesting? You can purchase knowledge. Now, this might sound obvious to some and less obvious to others. In some ways, I felt like knowledge was supposed to be free, right? We have public schools. We're used to being able to go to libraries, ask people questions, all of this. And yet here he's talking about how it pays to purchase knowledge. And this brings up a very important point for people, because oftentimes people have a mindset that says, I should resist spending money. I should resist paying someone for something. That it's not, that it's somehow scary to pay people to let go of money, as if it's never going to come back to you or you're going to run out. So fundamentally, you have to understand we live in an abundant universe. There is no shortage of money. There is more money in circulation now than has ever been in circulation before in the history of mankind. It keeps growing. There is more and more. And if you don't know how to call in money into your life, if you are limited by your current set of knowledge, information about how to create money for yourself, wouldn't you think that it was an excellent idea to pay someone who knew how to do that to help you figure out how to do that? When I read this, it reminds me of how I invested in myself, not just in the marketing training and the business training that was very tactical, that I did have to learn, okay? That is critical. I'm not denying any of that. There are trainings that you need to invest that will help you grow your life and business. If you're an actor, you want to invest in training to become a better actor. If you are an athlete, you want to invest in training to become a better athlete, a personal coach in order to do that, a fitness trainer, nutrition training, all of that. And for me, I wanted to learn how to break free, how to really get out of my scarcity thinking around money, because the evidence of my life was showing me that I was always afraid that it was going to run out. Let me give you a few examples. One was looking online, searching to buy something, and spending hours trying to save $2 or $3 looking for the best deal. It wasn't that at the time $2 or $3 or $10 or $20 was going to make a huge financial negative impact in my life. It was a mindset of scarcity. And yet I put in 2 hours researching something that I could have, for saving, say, $20, where I could have put that 2 hours into making $10,000. What's the better use of time? This is called opportunity cost. But I was stuck in patterns like that. And I'm not saying don't look for the best deal. There are times to do that. But I was stuck in a kind of scarcity thinking that was coming out in how I was making practical day-to-day decisions in my life. And so when I read here, it pays to know how to purchase knowledge. I realized that one of the key things that I did to make my quantum leap, to make my income breakthrough, to turn around my whole fundamental story about money and my capacity to make it, about life and my capacity to control my outcomes and my circumstances in life, so not just around the money, but a big deal with the money, was investing in paying someone who knew how to do that to teach me how to do that. And it wasn't just teaching me the methodology, but helping me actually take the action. And this is now what I do for other people. You're learning that in part in this morning mindset club. And you've got to think real hard here about whether it would pay for you to invest in purchasing the knowledge of how to do this. Many of you will shut off right now because you're like, oh, she just wants me to buy from her. That's fine, shut off, that's okay. I'm fine with that. Keep just doing this work in the Morning Mindset Club. I don't think it serves you to shut off, but I understand if that's where you're at and you don't want to go any further. That's fine. Keep with this program. Don't shut off completely, okay? But for those of you who like something just dropped in and you're like, holy smokes, I'm stuck in a story. I actually need more help. This is great, but I want to take it a step further. Then you want to reach out to me or someone on my team and we can help you. Because there is no reason that you need to stay stopped. There is no reason that you need to stay limited. You can break through. It may take purchasing specialized knowledge. So here Hill says, as knowledge is acquired, it must be organized and put into use for a definite purpose through practical plans. Knowledge has no value except that which can be gained from its application towards some worthy end. This is one reason why college degrees are not valued more highly. Okay, let's take a look at this. As knowledge is acquired, it must be organized and put into use for a definite purpose through practical plans. He's saying here, you must apply it. You must take action on the knowledge that you are receiving, you're acquiring. Just thinking about it and not putting it to use in your life is not enough. It's just not enough. And this is so important. So doing the work, the application work, the thinking work, the lessons that we put here in the Morning Mindset Club is great, but it's not enough. I'm going to just say that straight out. You need to start seeing how to apply this in your career, in your job, in your business, towards your goal. Are you taking this knowledge and taking action on it in your life? This is so critical. You need to be an action taker. And one of the key defining characteristics of people who are successful, meaning they have created extraordinary results for themselves, because you're only competing against yourself. Now, I don't want you to say, oh, I'm doing great because I've gone so far already, and good enough is good enough. You know if you've lived up to your potential. I haven't. I've done extraordinary things in my life that I'm super proud of, and I still know that I have not lived up to my potential. So I am constantly thinking about the new knowledge I'm acquiring, or the same knowledge I am hearing again with new ears from a new level of awareness, and how to apply it to get to the next level. How can I apply this today in my life to step into my potential at the next level? Saying you've gotten there is a big frickin' story. Now you can appreciate how far you've come. You can appreciate the results you've had, but don't be satisfied. That's the beginning of dying rather than growing. So ask yourself today, are you quickly deciding how to apply this knowledge? Like this lesson, this one lesson right here. How are you going to apply this immediately? What decision can you make? Boom, like that. That's an incredible tool. Are you making quick decisions? Are you quickly applying what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're knowing? Or are you in some form of overthinking? This next section that we are going to dig into says, successful men, and here please substitute women. So successful women in all callings never stop acquiring specialized knowledge related to their major purpose, business, or profession. Those who are not successful usually make the mistake of believing that the knowledge acquiring period ends when one finishes school. The truth is that schooling does but little more than to put one in the way of learning how to acquire practical knowledge. Okay, super, super important here. Now, most of you, because you are in this morning mindset club, already get this to some degree, that you are already in the activity of acquiring more specialized knowledge about how to achieve goals, right? That's what we're doing here. This is the creative process, how to take an idea, something that is in the non-form, but something that you are holding in your mind and in your heart, you're emotionalizing, and call that into 3D physical reality. That is what you're learning here, how to achieve that idea into reality. And that idea is a goal, a desire, okay? And you are in this process, so you're already doing that, but now think more. He's saying never stop acquiring specialized knowledge related to your major purpose, business, or profession. Well, what is your major purpose, business, or profession? And what's the reason behind the reason for that? What are you truly going after? For me, I wanted to break through financially. But I knew that not consciously so much, but intuitively or some underlying layer, that I wanted to break free emotionally and mentally. I wanted to have an amazing life where I wasn't constantly thinking that I was lesser than or not enough or unworthy. I wanted to feel worthy, feel like I was living at my potential, have no regrets about my life, really step into my greatness, not be always afraid of what other people were thinking, be internally driven. There were so many sort of layers upon layers of this. And I had to acquire the specialized knowledge of how to do that. Because quite frankly, all the self-help books that I had read over the years hadn't given me that. They had put me on the path, but they hadn't given me what I needed. I needed to go all in on this and finally break free. And I had to work with a mentor to do that. Okay? So what kind of specialized knowledge do you need? And how does it relate to your business? These are the kinds of questions that you need to be asking yourself. And he says something here at the end of the piece that I read, which is, the truth is that schooling does but little more than to put one in the way of learning how to acquire practical knowledge. It teaches you how to absorb and acquire knowledge. So that is very true. In my mind, unless you're going into a trade that it has taught you, and that trade could be chemistry or biology, okay? But it hasn't really taught you the practical steps for breaking free in your life. It might teach you how to read and write, which is fantastic, absolutely critical. I am not dissing school, by the way. I'm such a believer in education. But it didn't teach me how to have an amazing freaking life. It didn't teach me how to have an amazing freaking relationship. It didn't teach me how to love myself. Not in that airy-fairy way, but like, I freaking love myself because I feel worthy, because I'm doing the things in my life that cause me to love myself. Okay? Yes, we are all lovable on the spiritual plane. Yes, we are all worthy on the spiritual plane. But on the human plane, you have to be the person you want to be worthy of the life that you want to have. There's no other way. And I did not have the knowledge of how to do that. I had to acquire that specialized knowledge. So those are the kinds of questions that I'm asking you to explore today. Hill says, the order of the day is specialization, ! And then he has a section here called Specialists Most Sought, which I encourage you to read on your own. What I'd like to bring to the table, to the discussion today, is the law of compensation. The law of compensation says you will be compensated according to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So where does specialization factor into this? Well, it factors in a number of ways. So obviously, if there is a need for what you do, right? There's a problem that needs to be solved in this world. You can specialize in solving that problem. And that's great. The next sentence, the next phrase in the law of compensation says, your ability to do it. You'll be compensated according to your ability to do it. Your ability to do something requires that you specialize in it. You get narrow in your concentration and get really good at one thing. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have other interests or you can't, have other things that you do with your time, right? But let's look at the extraordinary people in life. Michael Jordan, amazing basketball player. Kobe Bryant, amazing basketball player. Did they both learn Buddhist teachings from their coach, Phil Jackson? Yes, absolutely. That was another interest that supported their main interest. But their specialized knowledge was basketball, and they got really good at it, okay? Look at Olympic athletes. Athletes are such a great example of this. But you also can look at this in terms of business. Are you really good at the things that you provide in your business? And how can you get better at that? What additional specialized knowledge do you need to get better at that? This is so critical. Now, you might have all the specialized knowledge in your business. Chances are you probably need to get better and better. All of us do. I never stop learning. But you might need tangential knowledge, like Kobe and Michael needed Phil Jackson's knowledge. What kind of tangential knowledge do you need too that will help you maximize your specialized knowledge? Okay? So the law of compensation again says you will be compensated according to the need for what you do. There's a problem that needs to be solved. Your ability to do it. Do you have all the knowledge that you need to do what you need to do? To take what you have in this world, your gift, and bring it to fruition. And the difficulty in replacing you. What's your unique value proposition? What's unique about what you do? Are there other widgets out there doing the same thing? What would differentiate you? And then go back to the specialized knowledge piece. How could you gain some sort of knowledge that would help differentiate you? Okay, for the bonus content for this episode of Stepping into Exponential Wealth, I want to talk about the power of knowledge, right? We talked here about the power of knowledge in helping you achieve your goals and higher levels of success. And we also spoke about how it's not just knowledge alone, but it's applied knowledge. That is what helps you achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible. So you must have the knowledge of how to do something, and you must apply it. So knowing alone doesn't work. You have to apply it. You have to live it. You have to use it. You have to act on it. And most people don't continue to act on the knowledge that they receive. They say, I've got this, I know this, and they don't hold themselves to a higher standard and see how they can apply what they are learning and bringing into their lives into higher and higher levels of action and application. So you want to be applying the knowledge that you acquire. Knowledge is required. Okay. I often say to people that it's not that you can't make $1 million, right? You have the potential to make $1 million. It's that you don't know how to yet. So the knowledge is quite critical, right? You need to know how to make $1 million. And Napoleon Hill talks about how you can purchase knowledge. It pays to purchase knowledge. He is talking about the means through which you will get to that next level of success. And knowledge is one aspect of it. It's not all of it, right? There are a lot of things that we are triangulating to and putting into play here that cause success, but having that specialized knowledge is one of the keys. So you have this potential to get to your goal, whatever that might be, but you don't know how to yet. You don't have the awareness or the knowledge. You're in ignorance. And there is no value judgment here. We are not saying you're bad or wrong for not knowing how. It just is. And at that moment, you have to recognize that you're in ignorance, that you actually don't know how to do what you want to do. And then you have a choice to make. Are you going to go and acquire that knowledge? Or are you going to, stumble along? So obviously you can DIY things in your life, and certainly there's a place for that. But Hill here is talking about that it pays to that there's success in paying someone to acquire knowledge. You'll get further faster if you do that. So you want to look at where you have a gap in your knowledge in scaling your life, scaling your business, and see how you might want to solve for that. What is the missing piece for you? How might you acquire that knowledge? And if you want to close the gap on time and do it faster, is it worth it to you to pay someone who has done it before, who knows how to achieve what you want to achieve, to close the gap on time, to do it quicker for yourself? So you want to look at, is this a gap on your team in your business? Is this a gap in training? You don't know how to execute on something in your business. Is this a gap in knowing how to do marketing or sales? Sales is what moves money. And yet most people run screaming from the room, not wanting to invest in training for sales, which is one of the most asinine decisions that you can make if you are someone who wants to increase their income. So are you investing in team and training and marketing and sales? Are you investing in how you think? Are you learning how to think properly so that you can achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible? Okay, so you have to look at what the gap is, what would solve for the gap, and recognize there are foundational things that need to be understood for you to solve for the gap faster and faster. And fundamentally, that is learning how to think. If you learn how to think, you can move through things so much faster, and it allows you to take advantage of opportunities and experiences that you would otherwise look by. So you want to look at what you're solving for, and then you have to ask yourself, are you willing to invest in that specialized knowledge? Most people say that they are, but in the moment of the buying decision, they come up with a reason not to. It could be a reason that you agree with. It most likely is. It 99% of the time, the reason that you say you won't buy something is something that is absolutely real or true for you from the perspective that you're working at right now. But of course, that perspective, that level of awareness, that knowledge base is getting you the results that you're getting right now. So if you want different results, you have to make different decisions. Otherwise, you're in a chicken and egg situation where you keep making decisions based on the level of awareness that you're at right now, and those give you the results that you're getting right now. So you keep getting, and then you keep making decisions based on those results. So you keep getting those results, and it's circular. It's which came first, the decision or the results? It doesn't really matter. You're trapped in that cycle. So the way out of this is to make a decision from the place you want to be, not the place you are now. It will feel uncomfortable. It will feel like dissonance, and yet you must do that to break the chicken and egg cycle. So if you are confronted with a goal that you have and you want to get there faster, close the gap on time, then you must look at what knowledge is missing. And if you want to make that, solve for that faster, you can use this tool, which is to purchase specialized knowledge. And if you start thinking that you can't afford it, you have to think about, is this Am I making a decision from the place I am now or the place that I want to be? And take action from that place so that you break that chicken and egg cycle. That is one of the success tools that you can put into play immediately in your life and business. Okay, with that, rock it out and be unstoppable. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us and for being part of the Unstoppable Woman movement. This